Can I ask you something? Do you feel safe in your body? Not just like physically safe, though that's important. I mean like settled, grounded. Like you can actually relax without waiting for something to go wrong. Because for a lot of people, the answer is no. And that's the confusing part, is that they can't explain why necessarily. Nothing is obviously wrong, life is fine, but there's this like low level hum underneath everything, this sense of like, I've got to brace for waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I hear it in my office all the time. People will say things like, I can't relax even when everything feels calm. I feel really tense. I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't know why my body feels like this. Nothing is actually happening. And I want to say something right now at the very start of all of this is that there is nothing wrong with you. There is something that has happened to you. Your nervous system did not malfunction. It adapted. It learned. And once we understand how it learned and why, we can actually start to teach it something new. So that's what this video is about. We're going to talk about why the body holds on to unsafety, what's actually happening in your nervous system when you feel that way, and what you can do practically today to start shifting it. So let's get to it. So let's start with the brain for a second, because this part actually changed everything for me in terms of how I understand what my clients are experiencing and truthfully myself. Okay, so you have a part of your brain called the amygdala, and its one job, the thing it was built to do, is to scan for threats constantly. So before you're even conscious of anything happening, your amygdala has already clocked it, addressed it, and sent a signal to your body. It doesn't wait for you to think, it reacts first. And then your thinking brain tries to explain what just happened. So here's where it gets really important for people who have grown up in unpredictable environments or experienced relational trauma or chronic stress. Your amygdala becomes more sensitive over time. It gets calibrated to find danger because for a while, danger was everywhere. And the problem is, even after the environment changes, the calibration doesn't automatically reset. So you can be sitting on your couch completely safe, nothing actually threatening you, and your body is still braced. It's still scanning. It's still waiting. This is not a mindset problem. That is a nervous system that learned a lesson and hasn't been taught a new one yet. So the other piece of this is that I think that it's important to understand is that the body doesn't store memories the same way that the mind does. Your mind has a story, a timeline, a narrative, but your body stores experience as sensation, as feeling, as physical memory. So something doesn't have to be consciously remembered for the body to react to it. If something happening right now feels even remotely similar to something that once felt threatening, your body is going to go into action. It's going to mobilize, not because it's dramatic, but because it's doing its job. I always use this example with clients. You get into a fight with your partner, and suddenly it doesn't feel like a fight with your partner anymore. It feels like every fight you had growing up. The same chest tightening, the same dread, the same urge to either fix it immediately or go completely numb and just shut down. Your partner's in the room, but your nervous system is somewhere else entirely. That is not you being traumatic. That is your body running an old program on new data. And until we understand that and internalize that and like get it, we will keep being confused by our own reaction. Okay, so this is where I want to introduce something called polyvagal theory. And I know it sounds like a textbook term, but I promise once you understand the framework, the general idea, you're going to use it. And so you're going to start to recognize it in yourself constantly. So here's the basic idea. Your nervous system moves through 3 different states, and those states shape literally everything. How you feel, how you relate to people, how safe the world feels, and how safe the world seems. So let me describe each one, and I want you to notice which one feels most familiar to you? So think about a moment when you felt genuinely at ease with someone you love. Maybe you're at dinner, you're actually present, you're not on your phone, you're not rehearsing what you're going to say next. You're just there, listening, laughing. It feels easy. Or maybe it's a Sunday morning with nowhere to be. Your body feels loose. You're curious about things. You've taken information without immediately bracing against it. That is your nervous system in its home base. In polyvagal theory, we call this the ventral vagal state. It's a state of safety and connection. So when you're here, you can actually show up in your relationships. You can think clearly. You can be present. A lot of people who have experienced chronic stress or relational trauma do not spend a lot of time here in this state. They might not even recognize it when they're in it because it feels almost too quiet, too still, unfamiliar in a way that can actually feel very uncomfortable for someone. State 2. Now think about getting a text from someone who stresses you out. You know that person. So before you're even going to read it, your chest tightens, your stomach drops into your butt, and you're like, oh my gosh. Or you're in a conversation and you feel yourself getting defensive. Your voice changes, your thoughts start racing, you're not really listening anymore, your body may get hot, you're just waiting to respond. That is your nervous system shifting into protection mode. This is the sympathetic state. The fight or flight or freeze state. Your body is mobilizing, your body is going into action, energy is moving up and out. You are ready to defend or to escape. And this state is designed to be temporary. It's supposed to spike and then return to baseline, but for a lot of people, it becomes the default. Anxiety, hypervigilance, the constant feeling of being on edge, that's often someone living primarily in sympathetic activation. And it's not meant to be long-term. It is meant to be temporary. All right, so here's the third state. This one is a little harder to recognize, but it's really important. So go back to our example earlier. You've had the same fight for the 4th time now, and you've been in a situation that felt overwhelming for so long that at some point you just went quiet. You're still in the room, but you're not really there. Maybe you're numb, or disconnected, or you feel really heavy and weighed down. Like you don't have the energy to do or feel anything. That is not laziness. That is not apathy. That is your nervous system going into shutdown mode, which is what we call the dorsal vagal state. When the threat has felt too big or too prolonged for fight or flight to solve it, the body does the oldest thing it knows how to do. It goes offline. It plays dead. It protects itself by withdrawing. A lot of people in this state will describe feeling empty, or like nothing matters, or like they're watching their life from behind glass, or kind of almost like they're floating on top or outside their bodies. So which of these states feels familiar to you? Most of us have a default, a place our nervous system tends to land or live. And here's the thing, not one of these states is wrong. They're all intelligent responses. They are your body doing its best with what it has learned. And it's really easy to get into the game of moralizing that this one is good and that one is bad and I shouldn't be doing this and I should be doing that. But that's not helpful. And it certainly isn't going to change how your body is currently reacting. It's just going to make you feel like shit. So our goal is not to eliminate the activation of any one particular state. It is to build what I like to call flexibility. The ability to move through the states without getting stuck in any one of them. The ability to return to safety even after you have been plucked or pulled out of that state. That is where we're wanting to move towards. If safety is our nervous system's home base, why do so many of us spend so little time there? Because at some point, safety stopped feeling safe. This is the part that I think is so important to understand, because when you grow up in an environment that was unpredictable, emotionally, physically, relationally, your nervous system does something really smart. It stops trusting calm, because calm in that particular environment was not safe. Calm was just the space between one hard thing and the next. So your body learned, hey, don't relax. Don't let your guard down. You always have to be ready. Stay vigilant, right? And just so that we're really clear here, this does not require a dramatic trauma history. It can come from a home where conflict was unpredictable, a parent who is loving some days and withdrawn on other days, a family where emotions were big and uncontained, and you were always managing the so-called temperature of the room. Any experience where your nervous system concluded the only way to stay safe is to stay vigilant, is to fight, is to stay ready. That is not a broken nervous system. That is a really, really adaptive one. And the hard part is that the adaptation outlives the environment. You're not in that house anymore. You're not 15 anymore, but your body is still running on the same settings. And sometimes, and this is something I sit with clients in on a lot with, of like, calm itself can become a trigger because it's unfamiliar, because your system learned that stillness meant something was about to shift. So when things are genuinely okay, there's this uncomfortable feeling of waiting. I don't trust it. And if that resonates with you, that is not you being broken or something's wrong with you. That is your body being incredibly loyal to a strategy that once kept you safe. The work is just teaching it that it doesn't need to anymore. So before we get to the tools, I want to do something maybe a little bit different. I want you just to pause for a second and to actually notice, what does your body feel like right now? Not what you're thinking. What are you feeling physically? Are your shoulders pulled up towards your ears? Is your jaw clenched? Is there tightness in your chest or maybe in your tummy? Is your breathing shallow? Or maybe the opposite. Do you feel kind of like checked out? Maybe I'm a little bit boring. Maybe you feel a little bit numb, like you're here, but you're not really here. Whatever you're noticing, just let it be information. Not something to fix. It's just data. Your body is telling you something about the state that it's in. And from that place, let's talk about what you can actually do. So I'm going to go over about 5 different kind of practical tools. These tools are really helpful. They're not going to cure you. They're not going to resolve some deep trauma just on their own. That's definitely not what's going to happen. But what they are going to do is they're going to help you regulate. They are regulation practice tools, ways of sending your nervous system a signal that says, hey, right now, in this moment, in this place, in this time, you're okay. And that matters, because every time you do it, you are building a new neural pathway. You're teaching your body what safety feels like. Repetition is how the nervous system learns, and it works in both directions. So, first one, orienting. So the very first thing to do when you feel activated, right, in any of those states, before you try to calm down, before you try to breathe, is orient yourself. So just look around the room you're in. Slowly let your eyes actually move and land on objects. Name 5 neutral objects out loud if you can. Lamp, window, coffee cup, plant, door. It sounds overly simplistic, but here's why it works. When we're in threat response, our eyes do something really specific. They fixate, they narrow, they tighten. They lock onto the source of danger, and that's a predator detection response. Orienting, letting your eyes move freely around a safe space, literally signals to your nervous system, I am not being hunted right now. I can look around. I'm safe enough to be curious. It takes like 30 seconds. and it can be really helpful. And the next is called the unfocused practice. We do this a lot in the trauma work that I'm certified in at the Lodge. It can be really helpful. Don't do it while you're driving. But yeah, so in a comfortable spot, find a spot on the wall in front of you and let your eyes go soft. Unfocused. Not staring hard at any one particular thing, just letting your gaze kind of widen. And from there, without moving your head, can you notice what that's the edges of your vision? On your left, on your right. What's above? What's below? And while you do that, take a slow breath in through your nose and a long breath out through your mouth. Here's what's happening. When we're stressed, our visual field literally narrows. Tunnel vision is real, like what I was talking about in the first tool. It's your sympathetic system narrowing focus so you can find and deal with the threat. When you consciously widen your gaze, you're shifting your nervous system out of that narrow, activated tunnel vision kind of state and back towards a more open, regulated one. It's like you're going from like tunnel vision to panoramic vision. And your body reads that as safety. Tool number 3, 20-second anchor. So your body needs sustained attention to encode safety. A quick deep breath feels nice, but it doesn't build new pathways the way a longer sustained focus in that direction does. So try this. Find a neutral or slightly pleasant physical sensation like the warmth of your hands in your lap, the feeling of your back against a chair, the weight of your feet on the floor, and just stay with that for 15, 20 seconds. Longer than feels necessary, maybe. Keep bringing your attention back to the one sensation. I like to close my eyes just because my little brain gets crazy. But you're not trying to feel amazing. You are just noticing something that is right now not a threat. And you're staying with it long enough for your brain to register, hey, this is real, this is safe, this is right now. It's why splashing water, cold water on your face can be really grounding, really helpful. It kind of gives your nervous system a strong, clear sensory signal that says, you are here in this moment, in this body, right here. It kind of interrupts that loop when you're starting to feel kind of checked out or overly activated. Tool number 4, name the state, not the story. This one's a little bit more of like a mindset shift, but I found it can be really helpful for some folks. When you're activated, the mind wants to try to explain it, tries to give a reason why. Again, kind of like moralizing, like this should or shouldn't be happening, or this is why, or you can kind of dismiss it yourself, but it wants to explain it. It wants to build a narrative. You know, maybe like something's wrong. I'm always like this. I always do this. This is never going to change. And that story makes everything worse. So instead, try to name what's actually happening in your body, not the interpretation of it. Instead of something is wrong with me, try, I'm noticing that my chest is getting really tight. My thoughts are speeding up, kind of bracing, getting really tense. And then ask, does this feeling feel familiar? Have I been here before? Is this about right now, or is this older than right now? That question alone can create just enough separation between you and the response to keep you from being completely swept away by it. You become the observer of the state instead of just the person inside of it. Tool number 5, the 5% practice. So when we are dysregulated, we tend to think in all or nothing, black or white kind of terms. I need to calm down. I need to feel better. I need this to stop. I need this to go away right now. Which is a lot of pressure to put on a nervous system that is already overwhelmed. So instead, just ask, what would feel 5% safer right now? Even 1%. Not 100%, not a total reset, just like a teeny tiny bit better. Maybe it's standing up and shaking your hands out. Maybe it's softening your jaw. Maybe it's leaning back in your chair instead of leaning forward. Maybe it's stepping outside and putting some sunshine on your face for like a minute. Safety is built in increments, tiny, consistent, incremental experiences of returning to okay. That's how the nervous system learns. Not in a dramatic breakthrough, but in small, repeated moments of, I went somewhere hard and I came back. I felt something really big and I can come back to safety. I want to leave you with this. feeling safe in your body is not about eliminating anxiety. It's not about becoming someone who never gets activated or never gets triggered. That is not a realistic goal. And it's just not even the right one. The goal, like I mentioned earlier, is flexibility. The ability to move through hard states and to find your way back. To expand what you can hold, to widen your window of tolerance, meaning the range of experience you can stay present for without shutting down or blowing up. Your nervous system learned activation, it learned vigilance, it learned that calm wasn't safe, and that stillness meant something was coming. You were about to get pounced on. And it can learn something different. And this is not like that bullshit toxic positivity crap. This is neuroscience. The brain has neuroplasticity. It rewires based on repeated experience. Every time you orient, every time you pause and name the state instead of the story, every time you ask what would feel 5% safer, you are building a new neural pathway. You're teaching your body slowly and gently what safety actually feels like. You don't force that. You practice it. You show up for it repeatedly, and over time, it changes. Nothing about your nervous system is broken. It learned how to protect you, and now we're simply teaching it something new. If this landed for you, I would love to know which part resonated the most. What questions do you still have? Drop it in the comments. I manage all the comments. It might take me a little bit, but I get to them. It genuinely helps me know what to make more of. And if you want to go deeper on attachment or nervous system regulation, healing relational patterns, whatever, I have more videos linked down below. Take good care of yourselves. And I will see you in the next one.